Quick, reinforce Duke Long. Heavenly courts, Gu immortals moved. They did not dare to continue watching. Duke Long and Feng Jiuge were two pillars of Heavenly Court. Once Duke Long was defeated, the whole situation would again turn precarious. Boom! Feng Yuan suddenly kicked Duke Long's hand. Duke Long's defense was wide open. Feng Yuan used the chance to approach closer and grabbed Duke Long's purple hair with his left hand. Then he raised his right fist and punched. Punches after punches landed on Duke Long's face and chest like cannonball strikes. Duke Long was unable to free himself. He could only shout in desperation, "Triple Qi retraction!" Qi surged once again and gathered in Duke Long's body. Duke Long's condition strengthened by 3 times. Bam, bam, bam! Feng Yuan continued to rain punches on Duke Long. He kept on punching. Over 1,000,000 years ago, when Genesis Lotus became a venerable, he wandered the world disguised as a mortal. One day, he arrived at a poor oasis village in Western Desert. There, he helped the villagers solve some issues using a Gu master identity. He was welcomed warmly by the young and old in the village. A child was the most excited, even revering Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable to the point of prostrating himself, because he saw new hope in his life. Lord Gu Master, I beg you, I beg you!" The child knelt on the ground and grabbed the hem of Genesis Lotus's cloth as he looked up towards Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable. His pure eyes were filled with tears and pleading. "Space, child, don't kneel. I will definitely help you if I can." Genesis Lotus lifted the child warmly. The child revealed a joyous expression. "It would be really great if you can help. Please resurrect my mother. She is my most important person and also the person who loves me the most in this world. My father abandoned us long ago. I could grow up all because she worked hard to raise me. But my mother died a few days ago. She died from exhaustion and illness. Even on her deathbed, she used her trembling hands to put the last half-remaining biscuit in my hands. She saved it for me. I cannot be without my mother. I cannot be without my mother. I beg you, Lord Gu Master, you could dig such a deep well and precisely find a water source. You can definitely resurrect my mother, right?" Genesis Lotus Immortal. Venerable was silent. The child was innocent. He did not know resurrecting the dead was far more difficult than digging a well. But Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable was the current Venerable. The things that were impossible for others were possible for him. But he could not. He was an immortal Venerable. He was Heavenly Court's immortal Venerable. Thereupon, Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable rubbed the child's head and sighed. "This is not possible. No matter who it is, they will experience life and death. Your mother's death is just her reaching her final destination. Isn't it a kind of release? Cheer up and live on bravely and happily. I believe your mother will definitely want you to live like that." "No, I don't want to." The child shook his head rapidly. "I want my mother to revive." Genesis Lotus shook his head and sighed again. "I cannot resurrect your mother." "Why? You can clearly do it." The child opened his eyes, looking at Genesis Lotus with fury. Genesis Lotus shook his head, not speaking anymore. The child pointed at Genesis Lotus and shouted, I hate you, Gu Master. You can clearly resurrect my mother, but you don't want to do it. You are too cold-blooded. You are really cruel. Is it because she is not your mother? If it were your mother, would you refuse so indifferently?" Genesis Lotus sank into silence. He put himself in the child's place and thought, then came to a conclusion as he said with extreme sincerity, "Yes, I will still do this. Everyone needs to accept death, no matter who they are, because I know this is all fate's arrangements.
To hell with your fate,
The child roared.
Do I care about your damned fate? I need my mother. I want my mother back.
The child was quickly stopped by the nearby villagers. The villagers repeatedly apologized to Genesis Lotus. Genesis Lotus waved his head, expressing he did not mind it. He looked at the villagers, stopping the madly struggling child, when he suddenly went into a daze, and his body shuddered. At this moment, he suddenly understood the reason why he felt a vague unease when he traveled around the world. Human hearts have changed. Their greed is insatiable. When humans became the rulers of the world, their desire was no longer about resisting the rule and suppression of variant humans. They had become increasingly insane and delusional. Genesis Lotus looked at the child in front of him dazedly as he came to a realization. Weren't the humans of the present age like the child in front of him? He was struggling wildly under the shackles of fate for an impractical wish. But was it truly impractical? Was resurrecting a dead person impossible? Genesis Lotus was aware that this was possible, but he could not do it. This was not allowed. However, does not being allowed mean that there won't be anyone doing it? Genesis Lotus suddenly felt loss and hesitation. A deep helplessness shrouded him. Even though he was a rank 9 venerable, the number 1 person in his era, he could stop the people from doing this with all his strength, but what about after his death? Even if he used all his strength and energy in this life, and no one attempted to revive the dead, could he, Genesis Lotus, stop the people from having such thoughts? The most terrifying thing were these types of thoughts. How could he stop everyone's wishful thinking? He could not stop the desires that emerged in people's hearts. Duke Long was beaten to a pulp by Fang Yuan. At the start, he counterattacked with all his strength, but Fang Yuan endured Duke Long's counterattacks head-on with an unchanging expression. Duke Long's appearance was completely different now. His chest had caved in, his scales were scattered everywhere, and his aura had fallen sharply. Triple Chi retraction! Duke Long roared again. His aura rose, and his injuries recovered immediately. Bam, bam, bam! Fang Yuan still rained punches on Duke Long. Duke Long had just recovered his features when his face was messed up by Fang Yuan once again. Soon, his bones fractured and blood flowed out from everywhere. Duke Long did not retreat. He defended with all his strength while shouting, "Triple Chi retraction!" His condition recovered once again. Reckless Savage's will cheered from the cape. Beat him, beat him! Beat him hard, squeeze him dry. I want to see how much accumulation Heavenly Court has to be able to let him expend it like this. Ha ha ha! But Fang Yuan was calm all along, calculating the remaining strength of the 3 monsters combination. His strength was weakening constantly. Back when the 3 monsters had first appeared, the green fish was able to destroy all the bones in Duke Long's body with just one headbutt. But after many fierce battles, and being struck by Fate Vanquish several times, the 3 monsters did not have much strength remaining. Fang Yuan activated Incomplete Freedom Transformation and combined the strength of the 3 monsters. But all aspects of strength, like defense, movement, and healing, were being expended intensely. Comparing accumulation, it truly could not match Heavenly Court. Endless fist shadows converged. Fang Yuan suddenly raised his fist and struck with all his strength. Boom! A loud sound was heard as Fang Yuan's right fist lodged into Duke Long's face. The horrifying strength burst forth. Duke Long instantly lost consciousness and crossed the sky in a blink of an eye, like a meteor, before crashing heavily on the ground. He continued to fall deeper. His strong body pierced into Heavenly Court's ground and created an unprecedentedly deep crater. Duke Long was lying in the depths of the crater without moving, but Triple Chi retraction was activated once again. Another round of endless chi converged into him. Fang Yuan snorted and loosened his hand. A large handful of purple hair scattered with the wind. They were ripped out when he punched Duke Long. Fang Yuan analyzed calmly. Triple Chi retraction was not activated by Duke Long. It was, essentially, a method left by primordial origin Immortal Venerable. Even if Duke Long lost his consciousness for the moment, Triple Chi retraction still continued to support Duke Long. Incomplete freedom transformation did not have much strength remaining. If this killer move was stopped midway, he could not use reckless savage Demon Venerable's strength to activate it again. Next time he used it, Fang Yuan would have to rely on his own strength. Duke Long had stopped temporarily. Fang Yuan immediately turned around and charged towards Heaven Overseeing Tower. Heaven Overseeing Tower had been continuing to move, but because of the interference from the three region's Gu Immortals, it was not able to go too far away from Fang Yuan.
Stop him! Stop him!
Stop Fang Yuan!
No matter the cost, we must stop him.
Heavenly Court's Gu Immortals charged towards Fang Yuan like moths flying towards fire. Ye Qiaozi blocked the path. Fang Yuan's punch pierced through his wooden armor and killed him. Zhao Shanhe pounced at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan kicked, directly bursting his body. Vortex Spaceboy screamed as he appeared behind Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan grabbed the tiny head with his fingers. He then clenched his fingers into a fist, forcibly turning Vortex Spaceboy's head into a mush of blood and brain matter.
This is the way. Kill them, rip them to shreds, then charge through the entire way.
Inside the bloody cape, Reckless Savage's Will laughed loudly while waving his hands as he cheered on Fang Yuan.
Fang Yuan, don't even think about it.
Duke Long flew once again, trying to stop Fang Yuan. A palace suddenly appeared above him.
Dragon Palace.
The former lord of Dragon Palace, Wu Shui's life seemed to be filled with tragedies. Dragon Man extermination was like an executioner's blade that was always hanging above his and the Dragon Man race's head. Dream revelations came time and time again. In order to settle the matter of Dragon Man extermination, he had to use Rank 8 Dragon Palace while doing experiments on the Dragon Man body. But to do that, Wu Shui alone was not enough. He gathered all of the Dragon Man Gu Immortals and told them the truth. He begged them for help. In the huge Dragon Palace, there was an unprecedented meeting. Almost all of the Dragon Man Gu Immortals had gathered together. To do experiments, we need a vast number of Dragon Men. Almost all these people will die. Even if they survive, they will wish they were dead. Thus, I cannot make this decision alone. If anyone objects, speak up now. I object. Immediately, someone stood out. Everyone turned to look. It was Wu Shui's cousin, the beloved 7th Young Master that Duke Long doted on the most. 7th Young Master pointed at Wu Shui, who was on his throne, as he scolded.
You scoundrel, you are insane. In order to gain Heavenly Court's trust, you killed your most loyal sworn brother. To conceal the secret of Dragon Men reign supreme, you caused the death of your own father. To refine Dream Token Immortal Gu, you actually used your most beloved wife as the Gu material. Now, to deal with Dragon Man extermination, you even want to sacrifice all of your innocent Dragon Men and do experiments on them. Why is your heart so wicked? Why are you so cold-hearted? You think that this so-called evidence will make us believe you? You are too laughable. Do you think we are all fools? No, you are not laughable. You are pitiful and sad. You wanted to give your wife happiness, and in the end, you sacrifice her to refine a Gu. You wanted to make your father proud, and in the end, you killed him. You killed him with your own 2 hands. You promised Huang Wei a bright future. You gave him hope, but in the end, you killed him. And now, what future is there? 7th Young Master laughed maniacally. His tears were almost falling out. You tried so hard to lead the Dragon Man race to rise up. And in the end, the Dragon Man race is about to be wiped out. We are going to be extinct. It was you. It was you. If you were not ambitious and took over South Flower Island, relocating our people, developing rapidly and causing conflict with the humans, why would all this happen? If the Dragon Man race lived quietly and peacefully, Ancestor would not have the intention of wiping us out. Wu Shui, oh Wu Shui, you are the strongest person in the Dragon Man race besides our Ancestor. But what you gave us was not glory or hope. It was neither equality nor dignity. It was destruction. You are a real tragedy. Your whole life is a tragedy. The entire hall was silent. Wu Shui sat on his dragon throne, expressionless. At this time, a dragon man, Gu Immortal, slowly walked out from the crowd and stood in front of Wu Shui. He then turned to face the crowd. This dragon man, Gu Immortal, said in a deep voice, "I support Lord Wu Shui." Seventh young master was astonished. Third uncle, you? A second dragon man, Gu Immortal, walked out of the crowd and stood in front of Wu Shui and faced the dragon man, Gu Immortals. This dragon man, Gu Immortal, said in a loud voice, "I agree greatly with Lord Wu Shui's plan." Seventh young master was shocked. Fifth uncle? Then the third, fourth, fifth person. All the Dragon Man Gu Immortals stood in front of Wu Shui. In the blink of an eye, seventh young master was left all alone. He shouted in disbelief, "Have you all gone insane? If this is insanity, then we are all lunatics." To become a lunatic like Ren Zhu, I have no objections. Little Seventh, do you still not understand? How big of a tragedy is it for our lives and deaths to be in the hands of others? Even if this person is our ancestor, our progenitor, he cannot do this. Wu Shui slowly stood up from his dragon throne. His face was covered in tears.
"Everyone, I, Wu Shui, hereby swear."
Wu Shui's voice was extremely hoarse. "I will stand with the Dragon Man race, regardless of survival or extermination. I will contribute my heart, my blood, and all the spirit and determination that I have. Even if I were to fail in the end, I will fight to the final moment of my life. Even if I die in the end, my spirit and determination will be inherited by others. Even if my spirit and determination are no longer in existence, even if only my name is left, I will continue to fight. I will never stop resisting."